in its context.
Okay.
And that is totally wrong. You know, when you go to the Bible and it made mention of wife be submissive to thy husband, we also forgot the next chapter or the next verse, sorry, that said, likewise, husband, love your wife, just like Christ loved the church and gave himself.
Okay.
When you say give yourself, it means submitting. Christ gave himself to the church, which means Christ submitted to the church because he loved the church. So you cannot submit to someone you don't love, and you cannot love to someone you can't submit to.
Okay.
So it's a two-way game. Exactly. It's a two-way game. If you want your wife to be submissive, you have to love her just like Christ loved the church.
Okay.
Because Christ submitted to the church.
Okay.
And most of the times, when you say submission, what's sparked in our mind is the wife's role to the husband. And none of us have ever raised the husband's role to the wife.
Okay.
And like I said earlier on, we always read the Bible based on the meaning we get from each verse, not as a chapter or not as what happened or what gave rise to that statement. We just read the Bible based on, okay, let's open to John chapter 1, verse 1. We only read verse 1 and that's all. We don't care about what verse 2 says because the Bible is all about cause and effect.
Okay.
Verse 1 will give you the reason why verse 19 is. And verse 20 would give you the reason why there is verse 22. It's always a cause and effect. So for a wife to be submissive to the husband must have to love her the way Christ loved the church. And for a husband to love the wife the way Christ loved the church, she should be submissive as well, the way Christ was submissive to the church. Many a times I see, especially in Nigeria, I have to say places I am familiar with. So especially in Nigeria, we see, or most Nigerians, I don't want to generalize, most Nigerians see wives as something you acquire in order to just produce kids. But we also forget the fact that God said, he who founded a wife finds a good thing. And if you remember, I think in Corinthians, why women are the only creature God equated with wisdom. And this is the reason. Our thought process is different, both men and women. Women's thought process is more on processing the problem. But for us, we are more of problem solving. A woman can give you 10 options on how to solve your problem, but she would find it difficult to choose the best. She will lay it to you as the man for you to decide which of them you should go with, or you should go with as a couple. That is submission.
Okay.
That is part of submission. Submission is not about cooking, cleaning your house, giving birth to kids.
One of you go for a while. One of you ladies in a noisy place, so please watch your backgrounds. Now, we're talking about submission. What does it mean to you? I don't want to be the only one. You know, earlier on I had a teaching. Now this is a discussion. A teaching is where I'm showing you what the scriptures say, and I'm sharing my perspective and my experiences. Now this is a discussion. So starting with the lady that tied black bandana, is it black scarf? All right.
Yeah.
Now,
Hey, good evening from here.
good evening. Now, please, I want to beg all of you. If you are coming on my live, don't call me tomorrow and say I should take down the live. I go through this so many. You say, Daddy Freeze, invite me to your live. Daddy Freeze, invite me. I have something to say. Then I put it on. Then it goes viral. Then you are now calling me, please take it down from Facebook. I did not know it to go viral like that. I don't have papers in America. Or I don't want my boyfriend's family to see me saying something. Please, if you know that you have a problem with going viral, I will not take down my video because of anybody. If you know you are sick, don't come on my live.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a problem with going viral, do not come on my live. Please, don't be calling me tomorrow and be begging me to take down the video. I will not answer you. All right. Now that you know that I will not answer, kindly go ahead, starting with the lady with the black head tie or whatever that is.
Okay. So for me, submission is listening. Remember when you were teaching earlier today, you said something that people always quote the second part of the Bible. But I want to dwell on the first part, which is submit to one another. For me, I've been married for 10 years. It's listening to one another, right? Because in a Nigerian context, once you are talking about submission, it feels like you're hurting their ego, because I don't know, maybe it's due to how men were raised differently or boys were raised differently to see women differently. They have a particular concept about how a woman should relate with a man, and they make it easier for the woman to listen to what your husband says. Like, take for instance the Nigerian movies. Like when you're watching, there was like, sit down here, listen to your husband. But when a woman has something to say, nobody's placing emphasis on what she has to say. Nobody's telling the man like, okay, listen to your wife's side of the story. So for me, submission is listening to my husband. And I also expect the same thing. Like, if I have something to say, I want you to listen to me. That's my own way of defining humility from my man, and also humbling myself to my husband. Because remember, due to our upbringing, it's easier for a woman to listen to the man because we already have this concept of the man as the head. Even when the woman is the one running the home, even when the woman is the one taking the leadership role, the general concept is, woman, submit to your man. But nobody's talking about the man listening to his wife when the wife has something to say. So for me, submitting means listening.
What is your name?
Oh, Kima.
Oh, okay. You're the Kima Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the other lady is Ibiso. Ibiso, let me hear you out.
Okay, my name is Bukola. I've been on the show before. I'm a certified relationship coach, so maybe you remember me now.
Oh,
okay,
yes.
So yeah. So today, when things comes up like that, I just quickly write them in my notes somewhere because I know I would always come back to it. And I was listening to your preaching this afternoon. You know what, Dr. Freeze, Daddy Freeze, submission would be redundant in a home that is functioning. Do you understand what I mean? Like if a home is dysfunctional, that's when you hear submission everywhere. Submit this, submit that. A home where the husband is at his best and the wife is at her best, you won't even hear the word come and submit because we are all doing great. Submission ravels those homes that are dysfunctional. The man wants to be this. The man, if you look for homes that are actually working, you won't even be hearing the word submission everywhere because it's all hands on deck. I'm 100% working. You are working. You know, you are loyal to your wife. She's loyal to you. You're taking care of her. You're giving her the love that she deserves. Submission will even die. You guys will remember to use submission. It's all this poverty mentality that you hear submission everywhere. People that cannot even give their wife love. People that cannot even provide. That's when are actually functioning, providing for their home, behaving like a husband, you won't hear it anywhere. It's redundant. You won't hear the word submission. And
My
you know
problem
what?
is that
You know what? Submission is different from respect.
To say something so I can remove him and bring Cass Beats. Cass Beats wants to come here. Cass, if you send a request. So, sir, what do you have to say about this?
Okay, just like I was saying before, what my two sisters just said, it's absolutely right. You know, once you have a functional family, there is no need to submit anything. There's no need to bring up the issue regarding submission, you know, because everybody knows his or her role in the family.
that's right.
Because submission comes in when we feel insecure, especially when we feel maybe the woman is doing more, and we are scared that she might end up being the decision maker of the family. You know, that notion of submission comes in, even though nobody gave us an assignment to submit. But you know, the truth out of everything, just like I said, once you touch any Christian, especially in Nigeria, he or she would go to that passage where Apostle Paul said submission. That was where it really originated from, that verse. And nobody cares about the next verse or the whole chapter. We just point at that verse: women, be submissive to thy husband. And we don't care about the role of the man to the woman. So
I'm very happy in
my point.
asking. I'm 12 years plus. I'm going to be 13 very soon. 13 years married, not just married, happily married. Somebody's writing something there.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, I want to say something. I have 2 boys. And the only advice I always tell them is, before you get married, marry somebody that you love, somebody that you can listen to. Because men naturally have ego. Let's face it. So marry somebody that you love, somebody that you know you can listen to, even when it hurts you. Because that's a problem I know that men have. My dad had that issue, listening. You know, they never want to listen to the woman's side of the story. And it's so hard to run a home like that. Even when the woman sees things that's 10 years ahead, because of their ego, they can't come to the level of the woman and they won't accept it. Like, you know what? I'll go with you. I'll give you this one, right? And then let's see how it goes from there. So marry a woman that you love, that you know that you can listen to. Because for me, that's submission. That's how I submit to my husband for the past 10
I think
years.
people are getting this conversation wrong. I'm reading what they are writing. Submission is not about money. Maybe you should listen to game 1 of the thing. It's not about money. Submission is different from...
Thank you, my dear brother, for joining. Should we need to bring you again, I'll bring you up. Thank you so much.
sure, no problem. Thank you, Daddy Freeze.
God bless you. So let me bring Cass Beats. Cass, if you're still here. Cass. All right. I just sent him a request.
Okay. So submission is not about money. I can respect. Submission is different from respect. That's what people don't get. There is something about we say, we have some people that will be they just I just want peace. Okay, put it there. You see it as submission. No, that's not submission. It's just because they want to stay there because their mommy said you have to be there until you die before you come back and bring your corpse. That's why some of them are there. It's not because they really want to be there. So submission is different from respect. You can be with a man because your parents said don't come back home. So you are there like, it's different from submission. It's different from respect. It's two things. Men that are loyal to their wives, taking care of their wives, giving her everything. It's not money alone. Get it right. It's not, I'm seeing comments. It's not money alone. Money is not all about, there are times that you won't have money. Your wife will still respect you. It's not about money alone. It's not about money alone. Families that are functioning well, you won't hear the word submission. Submission is redundant. They won't come and be saying, submit. You won't hear it in functional homes.
Yeah, submission is about relationship. What kind of relationship do you have with the man? Because some people get into marriage for different reasons. And for that same reason, they're going to have problem submitting, because they were not in that relationship because they want to build a home with the man. Or the man, maybe they just married a girl because she's beautiful, or they just want to prove to their family, like, yeah, that's my girl, right? Or to prove to their friends, you know, I can win her, right? And then they start having problems in their relationship because this lady don't like you to even start with, and you're forcing yourself on her, right? She's going to find it difficult to even listen to your voice. When you speak, it's irritating her. She's just there because she just found herself there. So what are you going to do in that situation? How are you going to make her submit to you in the first place? So people have to get the foundation right, because when the foundation is not right, everything is going to be broken.
All
Good
right.
evening, please, and beautiful.
Bring him on. So I have Samaria here. Samaria, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, good evening, all. I was listening to the ladies. They're actually very right, very, very correct. I also listened to the guy that spoke at first, but there's something he said that I don't really agree with. He said, yeah, quoted the Bible where God said, if you love, as Christ.
It wasn't God. Paul, Apostle Paul said it.
Yeah, he was quoting it where he said, as Christ loves the church, that your prayers may be answered, blah, 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 blah. In terms of submission, like my sister said, that's first of all, this submission of a thing comes with level of understanding, wealth, poverty. See, poverty, I'm not saying poverty as cash, because I don't say people are poor based on what they have or how much they have in their accounts. It has to do with here, like we discussed the other day. So you see, they barely see people who are doing very well, bent on submission. You wouldn't even have time for all those things. You barely see people who are really doing very well, keep emphasizing on submission from their partners or their wives. Submission, if you ask me, it has to do with effective communication. When you are in an effective communication relationship or marriage or whatever, that's what I see as submission. Because in that case, before you take certain actions, you do certain things, you consult your partner, you ask. And that's what I see as being submissive. You are respecting that person, you are honoring that person enough, before you make that move or you take that step, even though they may not contribute the way you want them to. But that's what I see as submission. And that's why you see a lot of men complain, oh, can you imagine she did a thing like this, she did a thing like that without consulting me. Now their ego is being bruised. They are now upset that they weren't consulted. You see where that means communication is lacking. There wasn't any effective communication, and that's why they would feel that they weren't approached, they weren't informed. She's not being submissive. I tell her to do a different thing, she does a different thing, because there's not even communication in the first place. No, back to what our brother said. Women naturally are stubborn. You see that particular Bible verse, it emphasized on loving them despite whatever. Women naturally are like, in their nature, we are like, in our nature, we are like that. So that's why the men, he was given to them like, you see, this is an instruction, love us no matter what. Because when you love somebody, you overlook things.
Ask you a question.
Please
think
do.
about it very well before you answer. I can't get Kaz in. I've been trying all my possible best to invite Kaz. Kaz, there's something wrong with the network. I want to ask you ladies a question, and don't lie. Can you marry your father?
Yes. My dad is a very difficult man, but I can. My dad is a very...
Remove your emotions. The moment you said your dad's a very difficult man,
yeah,
you are now being emotional and saying, oh, he's my dad. He's difficult, but I love him. Hold on. Can you do what your mother did? Are your parents still married? And that also goes to the lady.
I'm with you.
Do what your mother did to maintain your home. Now, just look at your father as a man. Don't look at him as the daddy you love. And you see, you are looking at your dad with a child's love. Remove the child's love and father in a husband's place. Can you live with a man that is like your father?
I can.
What about you, the other lady?
Can I be very, like, super honest? Like, I cannot, to be honest. Because
Even
to start
Samaria,
with,
I'm telling you, 10% of what
my
your mother.
father was very abusive towards my
The
mom.
reason why I would say,
Like,
the reason why I chose yes
I
is
cannot marry a man like my father. No.
other qualities
Mm-mm.
possesses are the reason why I would. He has his
One
qualities.
reason I can never marry someone like my father, or even my father, he was abusive towards
Okay.
my mom.
My father wasn't abusive. So, and in as much as he wasn't abusive, he may be stubborn on one aspect, but then he's caring. And for that reason, I would. It's about the heart I'll be going for, not about,
Mhm.
you know. So far, there's no
Okay.
abuse there.
Second
The
thing
heart.
I want to ask of you,
Mhm.
what your mothers brought to the table and what they put up with, can
Mhm.
you?
Personally, nowhere. Come on, not even in my dream.
Samaria,
Now, I lost mine when I was old.
Mm-mm.
you lost
One
the mother you were.
when I was 7, so I can't answer
Oh,
that.
sorry about that. That's a sensitive
Yeah.
topic. So,
My father just
no
died
problem.
last year, you know.
In the live with us,
Mhm.
producer, musician, and now pastor. We all know him from the song "Femile Mio Shame All
We
Day."
say,
Yes,
What does that mean?
you know that song.
familiar just means leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Oh, okay.
Just leave me alone. Yeah.
As Femile, you know, I
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
copyright. He's here to collect copyright from me. So the floor
Somebody
is
asked a question.
yeah.
the floor is.
Yeah. Yes, boss. Good evening, boss. Thanks very much. Basically, well, I'm an evangelist. Evangelists, we are like soldiers. We go anywhere the Lord leads.
Yeah.
But I still do my music. But yeah. But yeah, the topic on submission is it's a very good topic. But I think a lot of men have misused the word submission.
Mhm.
And now a lot of women don't like the word submission. But the truth is, submission is actually something that both parties need. Yes, I think it's in Corinthians, Paul said, husband, wife, submit to thyself in reference of God. And then further than that, said, the woman should submit to the husband.
Mhm.
Now, the truth is this. The most powerful woman is not the one that is masculine. Let me put it this way. The weakest woman is the one that is masculine. The weakest woman is the woman that calls herself alpha. Because the word alpha pertains to male. But the most powerful thing a woman possesses is her feminine nature. Because with her feminine nature, she can defeat even any man. For example, it was Eve's feminine nature that she used against Adam to make Adam eat the fruit. With Samson and Delilah, the strongest man in the world, it was her feminine nature she used to bring down Samson. The same thing with Solomon, the wisest man. It was her feminine nature she used. But you must understand, your feminine nature is linked to submission. Yes, the woman's feminine nature is linked to submission. You must see, if you don't understand submission, you will not understand what it's truly like to be a female
You
and
see,
feminine.
he's still talking about that submission. Like he wants only the female.
No, and I'm just putting more lights in it for you to understand. Because I wrote a book and I did my research about it and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to make you understand that it's a very powerful thing that you can possess if you have that thing in you naturally.
You see, let me be honest, Kaz, you in part, and I also disagree with you. You see, the biblical concept and context of Eve and Delilah don't occur in 2022, especially not in the world. If you took time out to study the society in which Esther, for instance, lived, you want to have the anointing of Esther. Do you know how Esther got into King Xerios, or what that's his name? Xerios?
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Went there by seducing him in bed. Women
I would
and hold on. You see, that same power that was attributed to Delilah.
Mm-hmm.
Delilah would pet him and put his head in her lap. Do you understand? And the strongest man in the world would succumb. We live in a world where the strongest man in the world cannot shout at a woman, let alone touch her physically. So his power is useless. You would see a man with big muscles and one skinny girl giving the girl is issuing him slaps, and the guy cannot do diddly. The pushes her, not slap back or pushes, the narrative changes.
That's right.
That is the world we currently live in. And although I studied scripture not just in English. I studied New Testament in Greek along the history of the New Testament. When was this written? Why was it written? Who was it written to? Who transcribed it? Who translated it? What was the original word that was used? Why was it used? Until you go through scripture like that, you're just going to have a baked understanding of biblical subjects. There's what we need to know. The Bible was written at a time when women were not counted.
Yes.
Matthew chapter 14 and 15. Let me read to you some things. Matthew chapter 15, verse 29. It says, I'm looking for just where this yes, verse 38. Matthew 15, 38. That's the specific verse. The number of those who ate was 4,000 men, besides women and children. For all people, the number of people that ate that day was 27,000 or 5,500 or 7,000. But the women were not counted, neither were the children. And it did not occur once in scripture. It actually occurred twice. There was the feeding of the 4,000 and there was of the 5,000. The feeding of the 5,000 can be found in Matthew chapter 14. And
yes, sir.
Verse 21, it says the number of those who ate was about 5,000 men, besides children. So you understand that this book was written at a time when women did not have the power they have now. And it is impossible to operate as a woman in today's world if you're trying to live in a world that no longer exists. A woman's value was attributed to how she could keep a home. Today, you have a boss who's a woman. Whether she keeps her home or not is not your business. She's your boss, and she has given you a deadline. I don't meet it. Now your sack letter they play with.
Yes.
These days, you have women who have more power than men. A woman who sits as a judge and give a man a life sentence or whatever sentence, and you cannot dare say anything wrong, she will bench warrant you and throw you in a cell.
Even preacher.
But priest, sorry. So can I say something? It's a question to you also. I know where you're coming from. For example, like in Genesis, they didn't count how many girls Adam and Eve had. They only counted the boys, like Cain, Abel, and Seth. They didn't say the girls. So I understand what you're saying. But there's one thing that if a woman embraces a masculine nature, she loses the feminine gift she has. And with her feminine gift is her most powerful energy or power she can possess. Yes, you can become a president. Yes, you can become a leader of a nation, no problem. But be very careful, because to wear those shoes, you are entering into a land that is dominated by men. And your natural status is you have to become masculine. And if you now want to not get a husband, your energy would challenge the man's energy. And most men don't like to challenge themselves at home. Hence why a man just like to come home to peace, to feminine nature.
Where did you get
Now
that ideology from?
Now, hold on, sis. I want to say something. I agree with Cass 100% on what he just said. Because to be honest, when you this is now a personal choice.
Mhm.
A personal, I'm saying I am agreeing with him, not in doctrine, not in theology, but as a person. When I come home, I want, oh, we lost Samaria. When I come home, I want a peaceful wife. Fight on the internet the whole day to preach this gospel of ours, which is a way gospel from the lie your fathers were told by your grandfathers, and they told you the lie. To slap you and wait is not easy. The amount of fight, the amount of negativity, the amount of ignorance. So I don't want to come home to somebody that wants to argue with me. I've argued all day. I don't want to come home to someone that wants to disagree with me. Doesn't mean the person is going to lose their identity. Now, let me buttress Kaz on what he's saying. You see, different men, some men like to be challenged. That's why I said I do not agree with you doctrinally or in theology or in context. I agree with you personally. I don't want to come home. I want to come home to a woman who has my time. That is why I don't want a billionaire. Let me break you guys' hearts. I don't want a billionaire. Unless Naira loses so much value that the money I need to live a comfortable life now runs in the billions. Well, I don't mind being a billionaire in Naira, but I don't want to be a billionaire in dollars. I don't want to deal with the headache of being a billionaire, overseeing 200 people, making sure this is working, nah, fam.
Okay, Daddy Freeze, let me ask you something.
Sorry, hold on a second. Come home, put on the TV, some nice pepper, a bottle of beer. Me and my wife are gisting. We watch TV. We sleep off while we're watching TV. Life no part that one for me. I don't need own private jet. You know, I'm an aviation enthusiast. I wouldn't mind paying money and buying a plane. If I can get the resources, I will pay, but I don't want to own it. I don't want to know the liability. I don't want to have meetings this morning, the next day. No, I don't care about all those things. What I care is now, this is me. It doesn't mean you want to be a billionaire, you are bad. No. Don't feed me your philosophy, your now let's start dealing with what I like to call personal philosophies.
That's right.
Be your personal philosophy. Let me give you an example. What I like in my life: watches and cars. I don't care. I own a house because I know that I have to own a house, but I'm not going to own 10. I tell my children, I say, you don't have anything you're going to inherit from you. This is my house. If you don't do well in life, we'll give you a room. And know that if you're going to live in my house, you will wash my clothes, you will mop my floor. Hungry from the fridge downstairs. I will not drive you away. I will hope that by the time you're 25, you're old enough to live by yourself.
That's right.
You fail in life, which I don't pray you do. There's a room for you. There's no house for you. I'm not going to give you a house. Maybe if I get wealthier and I decide my philosophy changes 5 years from now and I decide to get a bigger house with 8 rooms, then you have a room. But my house is a 4-bedroom house. I have one there with my wife.
Yeah.
3 other rooms, 1 for the guests, the rest for the kids. So you will fit into that space in my house. Let me tell you, when I followed my mom to Romania, I realized it's landed property that caused my family in Romania to have issues. People are not, I had cousins that we grew up with that are not greeting themselves because they inherited one land and some people are not happy with it. Same thing happened with my father's house, my father's family. They're always fighting over land. So I say, okay, I will not put my children through this and I'll help you out. You know why?
Yeah.
Spend the money myself, so there's nothing for you to fight over. There'll be money where you see. Just know that if I make 100 million in my life, just know, say, only me go 90. If you are with me when you're 90, you enjoy it. I will leave you like 10. So it's not, you're not.
Sorry, boss.
So you have something tiny to just manage yourself. So
yeah, sorry, but somebody said, sorry, somebody said I think it's gone up. It's something about diminishing women. You must understand. Let me repeat myself. The most powerful woman in the world is the one that embraces her feminine nature, because that is the most powerful force that God gave you.
Kaz, I'm still taking you on it. I like a feminine woman. I do. I remember having an argument with my ex one day, and I just raised my hand and I said I must be gay because I married a man. Yeah, I don't get that from Taste Buds. Taste Buds, on the other hand, is a businesswoman. She runs businesses and she controls a supply chain. She controls a lot. So me, I'm totally different. Me, I just control internet. I don't have people that I'm shouting at. You go and get me this. I'm more polite on the phone. Hey, have this. You understand? But there's what you call your personal preference. Know what works for you.
That's right.
Time. My father, till now, is an entrepreneur. I have zero entrepreneurship skills. I cannot buy Tom at 50 kobo and sell at 75 kobo and make a profit. I'm useless at it. So I have no businesses. I don't have a single business I operate or run. So if you're looking for someone to advise you with regards to business, I'm the wrongest person. I don't know how to do it. And one of the greatest gifts I have is I acknowledge my weaknesses and my flaws. Me, Mosh. My wife, on the other hand, is a born entrepreneur. If she's doing one business, the moment the business is successful, instead of her to sit there and enjoy that business, she's thinking of opening the next one. And I
that's
us at Cool FM. I mean, no business. Right? As you open radio station, before you know, you don't get 11 radio stations. As you go and open internet, any business that you can convince him will make money, and he gets passionate about it, and he will run the business. Me, I'm not like that. If I see something that will pay me money, or something that will give me bulk money at once, those are the kind. And that's so. You now need to understand that for my kind of person, what kind of person should my partner be?
Compatibility.
Some men like women that boss them. Some men like women that challenge them. Some men don't mind their wife more than once a week as long as she's bringing in the $1 million checks. I don't care about $1 million checks. I want to have you. And if you do not give that to me, I will find somebody around the neighborhood who is lower maintenance, who will give me what I'm looking for. Sit on my lap and play with my hair. And when she's done, I give her 1,000 naira. That is what many homes have become, because men don't know. Everybody be with Beyonce. Do you know what it takes to be with Beyonce?
I understand what you're saying. And everybody has their choice on what kind of man they want or what kind of woman they want, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's one core thing that God gave men, and a specific thing he gave women. This is what makes us very different.
Hormones, that's all that makes all the difference.
No, madam, let me explain to you so you'll understand what I'm saying. When God made man, everything he gave him. So man now named everything in the garden. Listen, when he even brought the woman to the man, the man, also named the woman. It wasn't Eve that named herself, it was Adam that named Eve. Understand that fact. Then, one thing we must understand is this. If you are my wife, that's what the Bible says. If you sleep with a prostitute, you become one with the prostitute, which means we have become one, which automatically means Eve was the missing rib of Adam. You are also my missing rib. So that's why Jesus says, that's why Paul said, as Christ gave himself for the church, the man also must do that for the woman. So I'm not challenging you. I'm not supposed to challenge you. Vice versa, you're not supposed to challenge me. We're supposed to be one because we have had sex, so we become one.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever decision I'm going to make, we make it together. But the difference is this. The final decision is left to the man because God has order. Now, Daddy Freeze, I want to ask you a question. Somebody asked me this. I said I'm going to discuss it in my service on Friday.
Go ahead.
God, the creator, Eledumare,
I'm listening.
is he male or female? I'm going somewhere. There's a part I'm going somewhere.
To be entirely honest,
Leave.
entirely honest, nobody can tell if male or female. The Bible was written in a patriarchal society.
That's right.
And the assumption is that God is male. The word father is used. But saying God is male is submitting God to our own minute, myopic understanding. So
Thank you.
I don't know God's gender. I don't know if God has.
No, I like that. You've given me the answer I needed.
As he.
There's
But beyond that, I can't say much.
Yes, there's a following question. There's a reason I'm asking.
Okay.
The following question is this. The spirits, the angels, what are they? What would you say they are to?
It's also hard to, because
okay. It's also because they're spirits also.
Out of respect, but you cannot say the angels are male.
Okay, good. Now there's a part I'm going to. Genesis 6.
All right.
Yeah, Genesis 6 now says, and the sons of God went into the daughters of men.
Okay.
It didn't say they went to the sons of men. It says they went to the daughters of men.
Okay.
Yeah? Which means these spirits, the sons of God, morphed into men, because typically if you are a man, you have more strength to do more things because you have more energy, you have more strength. So the alpha thing rests on the man. You understand what I mean?
You're a little too far. This is a benign thing that you are trying to build. What you're doing is
there's a point I'm going. There's a real question I'm going to ask, but I'm going to the question. Madam, no. It links to submission. It links to submission. Trust me. Yeah. I'm going to do this on my service on Friday, but I wanted to ask you first because I know you're more advanced in this talk than me. So, my sister, please, 1 second, please. Sorry. So Genesis 6 now says the sons of God went into the daughters of men, which means angels had sex with women. They now had giants. We all know that whole story. Okay. So, fast forwarding to the New Testament now. I know you have your understanding about Paul.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. In a home, husband, wife, and children, who did God place in charge?
The man as the head of the family.
Yeah. Say that again.
In a home, like Daddy Freeze's home. His wife is taken by the children. Who's the head of Daddy Freeze's home?
Now, I'm the head of my home, but
That's
you see,
right.
biblical context is different. Let's remember Abraham. Abraham had Sarah. Abraham could not have children. Sarah brought a maid. Sarah didn't go and meet another. Yeah. She brought another woman for Abraham. Patriarchal misogyny. You understand?
Yes.
David, many wives. None of his wives had other husbands. Let's remember that when his son Absalom slept with his concubine of Israel, David never touched them. Consider them widows.
That's right. That's right.
Again. Meanwhile,
that's right.
After David touched Bathsheba, his other wives did not tell him not to touch them. You understand what I'm talking about? You need to understand that you need to put the Bible in its society. in its time capsule.
Time, yeah, and the people.
Now, my father is polygamous. My father has more than one wife. My mom didn't like it, but it was tolerated. If taste buds find out that I have girlfriend, one night stand, the relationship end. Come be say I get children.
That's right. That's right.
You understand?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
please, in this particular world, you see, those was normal for a man to marry as many wives as he could want. Today,
Yeah.
bigamy. You are married to 2 women at the same time, you go to jail. Nobody has gone to jail in Nigeria, but y'all need to be careful. The day they decide to start starting, that's when you realize that one person is good.
Yeah. Sorry. There's a point. Okay, let me just ask the question now.
All right, ask it.
So according to the Bible, the woman by the well, Jesus ministered to her. She went to the village, brought the whole village. So she's like an evangelist, you know. She evangelized to bring people to Jesus. The order of God is the Holy Spirit, the man, because when God came to judge what happened in the garden, he called the man. What happened? The man said, "It's the woman you gave me." So by that order, we know that this is the way God puts things in order. The way God arranged.
Hold on.
Sorry?
Theory. Let me ask you a question. So, ask man, but
The question was never to come out of, but go ahead. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
hold on. Ask you. Control God was in the garden, the man or the woman?
I didn't hear you, sir.
And made God ask, who took the decision, the man or the woman?
I didn't hear your question, sir.
The decision that made God, that warranted God to ask, what did you people do? Who took the decision, the man or the woman?
I would say Adam, because he was responsible.
Nobody
was Eve.
Let me tell you, Nick had gone to Adam first. There's a likelihood that he would have been able to win over Eve.
Yes, because men think with logic, women with feelings.
Seduce. The Hebrew word used means beguile, seduce Eve. And then Eve brought Adam into it. So,
that's right.
although God went to meet the man, we know who wore the trousers in that relationship. And Adam. It was not Adam. Because if it was Adam, Adam would say, you're on your own. No. Now,
yes,
hold on, Kaz. That's why I never use Genesis as a reference point for doctrine. If you take time out to study the antiquities of the Jews, Jewish folklore, Jewish history, you will realize that there's some gaps between Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2. And there was another woman, according to Jewish folklore, called Lilith.
Lilith, yeah.
Now, the reason why Adam had an issue with Lilith was because Lilith refused in any way to be under Adam. And begged him, according to folklore. When they wanted to make love, Lilith insisted that she had to be on top. Why is you, the man, going to? Why? So that is why the scriptures say, in the beginning, God created male and female. Then all of a sudden, the man is lonely. Didn't they create man and female? You see, the book of Genesis is not an accurate book for history or science, even for theology, unless you can pick something from somewhere else and embellish it. Never allow anybody in the free nation to use Genesis doctrinally on its own. So, yes, I do understand that Adam cried to God that this particular woman you're giving me now, this one will kill me. Then Eve was now from his bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh. That makes sense. However, I want you to understand this from that same scenario. Whether she's wearing Lilith or calm like Eve, just know that he wears the trousers.
Just like what the woman wore the trousers.
Man still wears the trousers in any relationship. There are things that taste buds allows me to do for peace. For peace. But let me tell you, there are some things she will tell me, okay, and she will still go and do what she wants to do. So you need to understand that women too are not the yes sir, no.
Yeah.
Women will allow you to lead, believing that you can lead. Oh yeah, okay, you know how to do it. Oh yeah, lead. Don't fumble.
Yeah.
They take that
Thank
leader.
you.
Yeah.
That's right.
First time,
That's right.
the second time, if somebody tells
That
her
we
to
can
say,
all agree on. Yes.
Yeah, that is fact. But that is the fact. That is how God created us, male and female.
But what
Man
if the
as the
man
head.
can no longer take the position
all
of
right, we have a lady
leadership?
who has joined us and has not said a word for the last 10, 15 since she joined us. So let us say what's on her mind, and from there we sign off with one more line, one minute. Let everybody. I'm not going to say anything again. So over to you, lady. Introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good evening. I'm Holly. All right.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So submission. I feel I like the flow of the chat, and in a way I feel that women might feel or even both men and women might feel submission to have different meanings. We tend to think that what I do that I call submission is personal to me, while my sister here could feel otherwise. She could just feel, okay, this is our definition of submission. But I think that most men, I don't know, I might be wrong, most men feel that submission is subduing the other person, is when the other person is subdued. And when the word subdue kind of feel to me like something you're forcefully doing. And I don't think submission is something that comes from a place of force, where someone is putting pressure under you to go under. I don't think that is submission. Even love in itself, that's my understanding. I feel that love in itself is submission. Because if Bible compares the love that a man should have for his wife to the love that Christ had for the church, I kind of feel that Christ submitted himself in whole totality. And that if Bible is saying that that is what a man should do to his wife, then it's the man that is number one submissive person. So you are not ruling the wife like a boss or a dictator or the owner of a company or an organization. You are like, I don't know how to put it, like a partner, like a part of you, like, I don't know that word well to to describe love. You understand? And personally, I'm a married person, and personally, I feel like when a man genuinely shows me love, I respond with submission, with my idea of submission. And when a man shows me some kind of things that triggers reaction in me, I tend to want to rise, out of myself. I tend to try to rise out of that submission place and become, just react to what the person is giving me. So, I feel that submission in a way is, it takes a combination. It takes this union. It takes this understanding. It takes, I don't know how well to describe it, where you are able to unite with the person and understand a person and give to him what is due him. And the other person too is giving back to you what is due you. But if a man feels that I am the boss here and my wife should be submissive to me, then you're ready for war. Already you have created an environment for war. It's going to be tense. It's not just going to be, it's not going to work in any way. So, and then like that priest said, the scenario where issues came up in scriptures are totally different from what we have now. If you look at a loving relationship or a loving marriage right now, you would agree with me that we women, in quotes, we have the upper hand. We have a higher say. We can push men to do and undo. We can bring the strictest of men and the adamant of men. We can bring him to do her will while submitting, while submitting out of a love relationship. And I think that's just, for me, I think that's what submission should be like. Not I wake up in the morning and I'm worshiping. You can genuinely worship a person. I can decide to start worshiping my husband if it genuinely comes from my heart. Not kneeling down and raising up my hand in that kind of worship way, but I can genuinely totally go all out for him. You understand? And
That's right.
You get what I'm trying to say. When there is that mutual place where we meet, you understand. But when this word comes up these days, what rings in our head most times is the slave, or especially when we bring in the weaker vessel, and we use words like you understand. And when my gentleman here mentioned the alpha women the other time, you see, I work with men, and men work rather under me. I'm a boss in my field of work, and I'm a project manager that has to handle men. And I know that most men don't like to be under women. Some of them grumble. Some of them come late to work because of it. You understand? They feel she's a woman. Why is she there? And I have to lord myself on them to make sure that work is done. But I don't come home and do the same. Okay. I don't come home and do the same. You get it?
Yeah.
To my husband. Because the men at work are not the same with my husband at home. You understand? So I believe that the kind of submission we will have these days is out of a place of love.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Kaz, finally, in 1 minute, and then my other lady friend, Kima.
Yeah, basically, submission just means love and respect. Men, we take respect as love. If you respect in your husband, it just means to your husband, it just means you love him, and vice versa. If the man, like she said, like this new lady said, because the husband loves you so much, naturally your submission comes out of it. So that's just the way it's supposed to be. And that word, people should stay away from that word, that 50-50. What do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? I think, well, from what I read in the Bible and from what I'm influenced by the Holy Spirit, we are one. Hence why the Bible says, if you sleep with a prostitute, you become one with her. So as you are one, treat each other with respect, and but understand that the man is the head and the woman is the heart of the man. And the man cannot live without his heart. Hence why God made us in two, but one. Yeah. Sorry, that if you let me just quickly say sorry. Okay. I don't know if you're free on. I'll still DM you. I don't know if you're free on Friday, because the question I wanted to ask was this: are women supposed to be pastors? But just between us, I will DM you.
Yeah. Actually, there's nothing wrong with a woman being a pastor. It boils down to interpretation of Pauline doctrine, and we can have that conversation later. But I don't see anything wrong.
Please, yes.
There were women, Priscilla. There were women who followed Christ. Susa's was Luke chapter 8.
Yeah.
Mary Magdalene was the first person Christ appeared to while the men were locked up, hiding from God knows what. Christ was appearing to Mary and the other Mary and giving them a message to. You spoke earlier on about the Samaritan woman.
Yeah. Very well.
Or so women did have there was the woman in John chapter 4 was an evangelist. You understand? She encountered Christ. So sometimes we need to look not at what was said, but at what was done, and see the subtle messages in things surrounding Christ. Paul,
I agree with what you're saying, but there's some new studies that I will show you that makes you to question, is women supposed to be a pastor? But I'll DM you.
Share with me, not a problem.
Yes, sir.
Right then.
Thanks, Rost. Thanks, guys.
So much.
Okay.
God bless you.
All right.
You have anything
Yeah,
to
thank you so much for
Thank
yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go
So
ahead.
my final word was this, like when it comes to submission, like you said, it's subjective. It depends on who is involved. For me, it's all about the relationship I have with the person. Because I'm not gonna just blindly, because I have to be humble, have to be quiet, have to be submissive to the man, and you're making mistakes, and I can speak up to say, you know what, why don't we try it this way? So it has to be the relationship I have with you. You listen to me, I listen to you. There's no question of submission. Married for 10 years, and it has worked that way for both of us. It doesn't matter what works for other people, but for me and my man, we know each other, we understand each other, we respect each other, and we listen to each other. That's for me, it's submission.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
And God bless, ladies.
Bye.